Not with the moose. Play with the darn moose. Hopefully this is hopefully this is in frame. I can't see it. All right, guys. So today I want to talk about some mindset stuff and how you might be able to prepare yourself to really actually function within that mindset. So it's gonna be kind of morbid, just to be frank, but this whole craft is morbid. If you're messing around with these things, you should probably familiarize yourself and be comfortable with morbid things, because it's kind of just the reality of it. I wish it weren't, but it is. So we're going to talk about living for that final moment, right? In everybody's life, there's gonna be a last breath. There's gonna be a last thought. There's gonna be a last word. You might get to choose it. You might recognize that it's there, and it might just snap through you faster than you could have ever imagined. So, how do you prepare for that? How do you build a life around that? And none of this should be constructed to sound like I'm some master of the things I'm going to talk about. I'm struggling like most of y'all probably are. Don't have all the resources I'd like to have. I do my best to read the scripture and to be a better Christian, a better follower of God. But it's a struggle for everyone. But you got to do everything you can to push onto that path. So there's two people we're gonna mention in this video: the dude from Bear Independent and James Yeager. So, and regardless of how you feel about anyone else, when someone's right, they're right. So, Bear says, or he said in some of the videos I've seen of his, that you need to bear the weight that you can, and the things that you can't bear in life, you need to package those things up and you need to hand them up to the Lord. I think that's a really powerful way to look at it. Because serenity, right? If you don't have the capacity to accept what you can't affect, then you're going to spend your whole life just worried about stuff you can't control. That's not up to you. Just take that stuff and hand it up to the Lord. You got a better handle on it anyway. So, what I want to talk about is kind of how people... Evergreen, come here. Come. How people envision violence, or how I presume a lot of people do. You know, you got that fight scheme in your head. And I want to talk about how that might be misguided and might be bad thinking. So lots of people see that, if I get in a self-defense shooting, or if me and my boys are out there on patrol and something pops off, or, something in society pops off, whatever, you're running that gun, you're freaking, you're using that cover and concealment, you're doing them hard bounds, and everything's going great. And then at the end of the day, maybe you smoke a cigar, maybe you drink a beer, maybe you pray. I would raise to you to not assume there will be an end of the day for you. I would say to assume that you won't make it through that encounter, that act of violence. And I would say to you that you ought to be focusing on fighting and dying well, so that you might see the gift of survival from the Lord. And your entire life should, up to that moment, prepare you for that encounter. Because every facet of your life can prepare you for that, can make you capable of greater violence in a righteous way. So we're gonna talk about fighting well, living well, and living righteously. That's, in my opinion, where I'm at right now. That's the trifecta of a good, capable man. And I'm working on improving it for me. I'm not perfect at it. It's just what I'm working towards. So, what's that mean? Living well. Does that mean you need to be living extravagantly and going to all these crazy places? Not necessarily. Not likely. It means you need to be a man of love. And this, I mean, I keep saying man. This applies regardless of gender, regardless of race, regardless of nationality, regardless of any of those things. If you're a person that's decided to take up righteous violence as a path, then this applies to you, all right? It doesn't matter who you are or what you are. You all have these rights. You have the rights to self-preservation. You have the rights to be a man of God. And simple as that, right? Doesn't matter what country, state, county, you have those rights, and you can simply surrender them. No one can take them from you. Because if you live and fight well and you die well, you died free. So, living well means when you're living life for that last moment's not the time to think I should have forgiven my best friend. I should have spent more time with my family. I should have spent more time being a better husband or father or son or daughter or mother or whatever. That's time to look back and say, I did well, right? And you need to be living life to prepare for that, whether that be in 90 years or in 20 seconds. So, living well just means living fully, not procrastinating, not pushing off what you have to do. And I'm just as... Hi, Evergreen. I'm just as bad as it. I'm just as bad at it as most people, I'm sure. But you need to be working towards that. So as far as living righteously is concerned, you need to trust in the Lord. You need to follow His path. And you need to do your best, the best you can do to be right with the Lord. If you believe in the Lord and you're not right with Him, you need to get right with Him. That's just a fact, right? And if you don't believe in the Lord or you follow some other religion, it's not that I don't care, because I do. I care deeply. I want you to follow the path of Christ. But if you're following some other religion or whatever, man, you need to be committed to it. You need to really, if you don't believe in this one, you need to truly believe in yours, right? You need to commit yourself to, because you need that higher power to hand those things off to that you can't handle. And then as far as living well, living righteously, and fighting well, and part of living well and righteously is to train, right? To prepare yourself to fight well. Because you're not going to just rise up and be like, oh crap, I'm freaking Chris Kyle now. I bought all this expensive crap, got my wife real mad, never trained with it, and I'm just going to, wake up one day and, Red Dawn or whatever, and I'm just going to pick up that freaking 6'5" or that, 300 normal or whatever crap you got, and I'm gonna send that crap out to 1,000 yards or 1,000 meters or whatever. No, you're not. Not if you haven't trained for it. Not if you haven't done it for reals. You're not gonna just, oh, I know how to do it now. God's given you the capacity to train right now. You need to be doing that, even if it sucks. Because I get it. It sucks. I mean, dude, I get it. I really do. Back when I was in the infantry, and still today, man, training sucks. You're out there doing dry runs and all that stuff that just seems so stupid. But that's how you get the repetitions in, man. If you've got one of these, but you don't have enough of these, and you can only do dry, that's fine. You need to get out there and do it. No matter how stupid it seems. You need to do it by yourself. You need to do it in your team. You need to do it at whatever level is appropriate for you and your lifestyle. And you need to do it often. You need to get out there and do your PT. And you need to do it often. But when it comes to the fight, don't focus on the bearing weight of survival. It'll cloud you, man. The last thing you need is clouding. You need to recognize that that's not up to you. You can train your whole life and just catch a random round. It's not up to you. You need to hand that that struggle up to the Lord, because that's who it's up to. And you need to focus on doing it well. And if you're given the gift of survival from the Lord, then you need to have prepared yourself for that survival. And that's where the thing that James Yeager comes in. He said, it was in some video years ago, I'm sure. But there's 3 levels of a gunfight. There's 3 parts of the fight. And this is roughly, if I get it slightly off, it, generalities. He said, there's the gunfight, you need to survive. There's the legal fight, you need to survive. And there's the moral fight afterwards. Evergreen, come here. If you don't live well and righteously, you're not training hard every day. And before I go down this path, if you've been in a situation like this, I'm sorry, first off. And second off, that is a weight you need to hand up to the Lord, right? Because who's given that gift of survival probably wasn't up to you. Okay? Anyway, this is for the people that haven't yet. And if you are struggling with that, try to reach out to me. I'll talk to you if you need someone to talk to. But yeah, I don't know if I'll have a Facebook page every time you see this, but if I do, shoot me a message. I'll give you my phone number. We'll talk. But for everyone else, you need to be living life in a way that prepares you for those last moments, so that if you're given the gift of survivability or survival, you can actually do something with that gift. Because that's not the time to be blaming yourself or looking back in hindsight, which you're going to do anyway, but let's prepare ourselves for it, right? We know we're going to do it. Let's prepare ourselves for it. Let's train hard. Let's live well. Let's live righteously. Let's not focus on selfish means of survival and focus on fighting and dying well, so that in your last moments of life, you can know that you did the best you absolutely could. And if you're given the gift of survival, you can look back and know that you did the right thing, the righteous thing, and the right thing. I'm sure there's something I'm missing in this, something I'd like to say, but really, my only goal with this is for people to really think about that last moment and living for that, right? You have these little tiny 16-hour blocks of life you can live in. Make the most of them, so that when they run out, you're not looking back with a little bit of regret. Hey, baby dog. Hey. All right, guys. We'll see how this turned out. All right. This is Doug with Nomadic Rifleman. Because everywhere deserves good and capable riflemen. Y'all have a blessed day. Oh, Sabbath tonight. Observe the Sabbath. It's God's gift to you. Don't turn away God's gifts.